Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to come and be with us here. The Charter Hall Group, the direct business, is but a small portion of the bigger group. $22 billion of funds under management. Charter Hall has continued to grow.
The purpose is really to connect with you, to give you an update, an understanding of what's happening in your funds that you're invested in, and a prospective outlook on related issues such as property outlook and some of the new trends that are impacting all of our lives. Charter Hall's funds are primarily in the core space. They are designed to be suitable for investors who want a stable, steady portion of their portfolios allocated to property.
It's how do you manage these properties? And we do it at Charter Hall by having people on the ground in all the markets where we own assets. Charter Hall has done over $18 billion, that's $1 billion of real estate transactions. 5.6 billion relate to properties that we've sold. And this is the Charter Hall strategy, the 4 pillars: accessing, deploying that, so negotiating, sourcing assets off market, and finally we invest. So Charter Hall will take a stake in the various investment products.
Is Sydney becoming a global city? Yes, it is, okay? And currently there's over $80 billion in infrastructure expenditure over the next 4 years committed to Sydney. What's that tell us? That in the next 20 years, the way people live, work and travel will dramatically change. The 3 CBDs all connected very, very well. Anywhere you can live, you'll be able to get there by public transport within 30 minutes.
But to look at where things are at, I'd first want to stylise how things have been the last few years. So for several years now, investment markets have been leading where the leasing markets have been. Investment markets have been very, very strong. There's been a lot of capital coming into this market globally. There's been strong capital locally, and investment markets have been strong, and leasing markets have been catching up.
I think it's an interesting question actually when you consider the real estate and property sector. The topic of artificial intelligence, and I think sometimes innovation is not something that naturally springs to mind. Innovation, digital and emerging tech is moving further up the CEO's agenda. It's becoming more and more important in that sense.
Our largest vehicle, the Direct Office Fund, it's actually the vehicle that owns the 50% interest in Western Sydney University. It's had some fantastic returns over the last 4 years since we reopened it, 18% per annum. The Direct Industrial Fund number 4, continuing to deliver that high quality industrial and logistics property space. It's got around $200 million in assets under management and a 6.3% return. Our very recently launched PFA fund. So it's slightly different to the Direct Office Fund. It does focus on office assets, but more in that metropolitan suburban space. But we don't compromise on the type of tenants we're targeting, the lease terms and the occupancy rates. So we launched the Direct Diversified Consumer Staples Fund, and this vehicle can invest, it's agnostic to the sector, office, industrial, retail, but its differentiating point is that it's focused on tenants, so the people that are paying the rent that are in that consumer staples part of the market. And this now brings me to the last part of today's proceedings, and is with great pleasure that I'd like to invite Cedric Fuchs to the stage. But in this case, the emotion is very much mixed. Cedric, after 25 years in Charter Hall and being a founding father of the business, has actually announced his retirement come 30 June this year. He's been a fantastic mentor to myself and other members of the team. Please welcome to the stage for the last time, Cedric Fuchs.
Well, thank you very much, Steve, and thank you for all of you who've supported Charter Hall in the past. I know when I leave it in good hands, and it certainly is a very broad-based business today, which started with 4 people. It now has 500 property professionals who operate right across Australia and are very well served by many people. I feel very proud that Charter Hall, from a very humble beginning of 4 people, is now one of the leading property players in Australia. Thank you.